This right here is a 2022 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon Xtreme Recon Edition. It's got upgraded 35-inch tires. It's got a 1.5-inch lift, and also the gear differential is different. But this one that's special about this one has a soft top retractable roof. So that's basically like a convertible roof. Now that's cool. A lot of this stuff on here is pretty much standard. I want to get one thing straight. I've done videos of the Jeep Wrangler in the past, so a lot of this stuff is going to be redundant. So basically what I want to do is what it's like to have a vehicle like this for 48 hours. I went on a road trip, went to the Grand Canyon with the family, and you learn a lot about a vehicle after you've had it for more than just 30 minutes or something for like a car review. This being like, I had this vehicle for 48 hours driving, 4 hours there and 4 hours back. After you had a car that long, you start to learn a lot of the ins and outs of the vehicle, things that you wouldn't even notice if you only had the car for like a few minutes. So here's the things I learned. I want to show you the little things that I've noticed about this vehicle that make it easier and sometimes a little more difficult. Now, if you look right here, you see this right here, average miles per gallon, 18.3. This is a V6 and it's a 2022. I thought the standard for miles per gallon being good gas mileage was 20 miles per gallon at least. But this vehicle with a V6, especially when you get the lift and the big old tires on it, it doesn't get very good gas mileage anymore. You can control the climate controls right here, but also when you go through here, say like if I want to push up, you gotta be very careful how you push, because you just tap it the wrong way, it sends it all the way up. Like I just wanted to adjust a couple degrees, like even going down. If you do it wrong, it'll go all the way down to low. Oh, it's okay. When I want to show you, it's not gonna do it. But you see, like sometimes, like just on that one, it makes it very redundant to have climate control up here when you got climate control right here. Like, what is the purpose of that? Why did you do that? Like, that's a waste of time having that there. So like, I remember I'd be driving and trying to figure this out, and I'm like, man, it's so much easier just doing it right here. Especially if you have the actual buttons, just use the button. All right, so when you start driving and you look right here at your fuel economy is okay as long as you don't push your foot on the accelerator. As soon as you start accelerating, you notice that the miles per gallon goes down drastically. I'm like barely accelerating and it goes down to 17. So most of the time, it's usually about, like it says right there, 18.3. I remember driving on the freeway, trying to just keep a nice, humble, modest 65 miles an hour and seeing the thing 17 miles per gallon. 17 miles, like this is ridiculous. Another thing that I noticed is when you set it to cruise control while you're on the freeway, you push set, cruise control on. Can you tell me where the number is? Like, do you see how tiny that is? I guess I just expected it to be around like the same size font as like the temperature, The last 48-hour review video I did with a Jeep was with the Jeep Gladiator. And that one being a little bit longer, it was actually surprisingly a lot smoother than the Wrangler. Now I know it's comparing apples to oranges, but the Gladiator I had gotten before was actually a Mojave edition. So the suspension was slightly different. That one had like 2 dampeners like fused as one, and it also had like a reservoir on the side, so that's like way smoother rides. When I drove from my house all the way to Flagstaff, I only used like a quarter of a tank. So like I realized that one had better gas mileage than this Wrangler. This one has 35s. I think that one had like 33s. So with the bigger tires on it, it definitely has worse fuel economy. Also, this one has a different gear ratio. So when I was riding on the freeway, I noticed like sometimes I feel like just trying to speed up to some people sometimes, the RPM would be at like 4,000 RPM just trying to keep up with the traffic. I just don't like how you feel every single little bump in the road, like everything. Like you really gotta, like, in order to make a Jeep Wrangler feel smooth, if you never driven the Mojave with the dual piston Fox suspension, that one's smooth. Like, and like after going to that and then coming back to the Rubicon, it's like dang. And this is supposed to be the Xtreme Recon version, so that doesn't mean improved suspension. It's lifted up, so probably just like a little lift block under it. It's a 1.5-inch lift. It's got different gear ratio and bigger tires. Nothing to add to the ride quality, nothing to add to engine performance, nothing to add to keeping your RPMs down when you have the when you have that different gear ratio, you know, you gotta, I would think that they would account for that in some way or something. If you're gonna be getting a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon and you're not gonna be upgrading the suspension yourself to something a little bit better, then I would expect this to be kind of a bumpy ride, you know? You don't get this to be expecting it to drive like a Suburban or a Tahoe or even like some pickup trucks, you know? The way that they got this thing built, it's gonna thrive in the off-road environment more than what I've noticed most people use Jeeps for is just, you know, just going regular commute. People have like this crazy high-end Jeep, but never take it off-road, you know, so their ride quality is more than likely not that great unless they got the really upgraded suspension. So just like when it comes to riding on the freeway, it doesn't feel like it's very like stable. Like it doesn't feel very smooth. Like I don't get that sense of confidence when I'm going fast as far as stability. So what I don't like is when I'm going straight, I could do like this. Like I could do like this doing 60 and it still would just keep going straight. I don't like that. All right, so I'm sure you're tired of hearing me rant about the negative aspects of this vehicle having it for 48 hours, but I do want to give the vehicle some praise. It does deserve some praise. You know, there is a lot of things, a lot of perks that come with the Jeep Wrangler, especially if you're a family that likes to go off-roading. You know, you can go off-roading with confidence. Just don't do no crazy stuff, because these things still can flip over. Like it's not rare for people to flip their Jeeps over, which is why one of my favorite features of the Jeep Wrangler is the built-in roll cage. You know, the built-in roll cage right here. Not only does the built-in roll cage offer like overhead protection, so like if you get rolled or something like a tree or something like that, it also has the speakers built in it right here, and the speakers are on the bottom side. So that's nice, having the sound and the audio from your music coming from right there, so you don't have to feel like you're just missing out on it. Because one thing that this Jeep does, you can take the doors off. Now usually the speakers for cars are in the doors, but this one, the speakers are up here. They're also in the front of the dash, little speakers. So the built-in safety features I like, because, you know, they're expecting you to want to do Jeep stuff. Another thing I like, for this being a Jeep Wrangler, these new ones, they come with a lot of technology, and you got a lot of different features in there that you get with this vehicle. I know it doesn't get great gas mileage, but for what you're getting and the capabilities, you know, as much stuff as I had, this thing was packed full of stuff. It's got a lift with 35s, so it's no surprise it didn't really get good gas mileage. But one of the things that they try to do to alleviate the poor gas mileage is this thing has like a automatic start-stop feature when you stop. So when you stop the vehicle, the engine will automatically cut off. You see right there, the little A comes on, turns the engine off. Now I could just take my foot slightly off the brake and it turns back on. I didn't go anywhere, I just took my foot off the brake a little bit and then it automatically starts back on. That's a cool feature, I like that. And in order to try to encourage less fuel consumption, right? Now as far as inside the vehicle, there's plenty of storage, as you got like little nets here and everything. You see inside they put cup holders as well as little spots to put your phone. You can put a phone right here in this slot, as well as you can put a phone right here. Inside here, there's a little bit of storage there. Second compartment, extra stuff. You got netting on the side over there as well as behind the front seats and the passenger doors as well, rear passenger doors. Also another thing, if you look underneath the back seats, there's a little bit of storage room under here as well, so you can put little stuff in here if you have something that can fit in there. I'm a family man, and I was able to fit 2 car seats in here, a booster seat as well as a normal toddler's seat right here, and both seats are able to fit in here, no problem. You know, I can move this seat up, kid has plenty of room, no problem. There's also cup holders here in the back as well. I like that. One of the newer features for the newer style Jeeps is this dome light. It has a button on each side so you can illuminate in 4 different corners. Okay, so just one more of the things that I don't like about this vehicle with the soft top. With the soft top, this convertible, it's like a super B to take all this mess off. So I didn't even take any of this off. Granted, I understand that you could take it off and throw it in the back anywhere. That's the convenience of it compared to the big hard one. But it's still kind of inconvenient. And also with the top on there, this doesn't pop up right here. The glass doesn't pop up anymore, so you can't take advantage of this feature right here. So though you can undo the little bracket here so you can open this up and everything, but still it's like I'm just nitpicking and finding things to point at. Another feature, I like how this one has the Alpine system in the back. So the stereo in here is like really good. This is like the best Jeep Wrangler sound system I've heard yet. So before I get to the bad news, I do want to say some good news. This back door has like a sensor, so I can just touch the door and it'll lock it or unlock it. Also, there's like a button, so I can hit it to unlock and lock the door. Now here's the bad part. When you close this door, it's almost like as if it doesn't even latch properly. Now I'm glad for this sensor, but I don't like the fact that every single time I touch it, it's like, come on. Like I didn't even ask you to do it. Like if they could change the software a little bit. One of the main contributors to this rougher ride is this type of suspension. It doesn't have the upgraded Fox suspension. The only thing that was upgraded on the Xtreme Recon edition is the tires, the gear ratio, and the little bit of lift. One more thing that I think is really annoying is just something just to nitpick at. When the car is running on this one and you step out of the car with it running, it does a lot, and it makes the horn, and it's so loud. It goes burp, burp, burp. And you can, I want you to hear how loud the alarm is. Now watch this. I'll push the button. That's how loud that is. Now imagine doing that 3 times. I'll do it. That's annoying. It does that when you get out of the vehicle. Now compare that to, that's what I'm used to. I'm used to opposed to this super loud. That's like ridiculous. That's just like a little nitpick. I don't like how loud that is. Now, something that really surprised me about the vehicle was how easy it is to pop this top off. That's one of the things I don't like about this when you're driving, is how much noise is on the interior of here. I took this vehicle on a road trip all the way to the Grand Canyon, driving for 4 hours with the convertible soft top. Now, if you're going to be trying to go 70, 80 miles an hour, like some of the people who are going to be passing on the freeway, most big freeways out in the middle of the places out there, you know, the speed limit's going to be like 75, 80 miles an hour. People are going to be going by you fast, and the roads are not going to be in good conditions. So this car doesn't do very good in those conditions. And just after unlatching the convertible roof on this, I can see why, because it barely even has to unclip. I'm about to show you right now. Okay, so I will say that it's extra easy to unlatch this thing and get the convertible going. It's not electric assist or anything, it's just manual. So you just pull this down here, pull this one down there, and that's it. You just lift it back. That's it. That's all you gotta do. And then it goes all the way back, and then that's easy. That's all you gotta do. Just watch how easy it is to do this. That's it. It's super easy to do. All you do is clip, clip, push it back, and then the little hydraulic piston pushes it back the rest of the way. Now I can see how this could be useful, you know, riding around town. Maybe I didn't put it down all the way properly or something like that, but it's pretty easy. Now I can see why I didn't like how noisy it was in there, because this thing isn't like even clamped down when you close it. It's like 2 very light little clamps. Though from up above it does offer a cool little view. You see how it says Jeep right there? These are the 2 speakers right there. And then what holds it in place is a little bitty piston right here. So that's what's holding that up right there. And all you gotta do is get inside your driver's seat. It's easy, but you gotta be willing to get up there, grab a little handle, pull it down the rest of the way. Like I said, it's 2 little clamps. Barely go like that, and I didn't even have to really like clamp down hard. It's like barely on there. I feel like you could accidentally knock that loose and this thing just fly right open. Now, I will admit, some of the stuff that I'm talking about or nitpicking on here is just things that I've noticed after you've driven it for a long, extenuous period of time. It's like you start noticing things that like maybe kind of quirky or kind of things, maybe that just like literally just get on your nerves or like end up kind of ruining the whole greatness of it, what you imagine. But it's nice being able to get up close, because there are a lot of pro features of this thing. It just depends on who you are and whether this vehicle is actually for you, because this vehicle might not be for some people. I had 2 kids that were trying to sleep, so all this wind noise plus the super cold out, it's like 20 degrees outside, the super cold temperature literally leaks in here no problem. So that heat has to be like blasting, otherwise you're gonna start feeling the cold. Like I had the heat blasting. It's either heat blasting or heat down a little bit, and then you're freezing. Like you feel like the heat, you feel like the cold coming in through the windows. Also, you gotta worry about the road noise. You're gonna worry about a bumpy ride. So if you're someone who's used to like, a lot of people like to get big SUVs like Tahoes, Yukons, Durangos, and one of the quirks of those things is, I wouldn't say quirks, but one of the benefits of those kind of vehicles is a nice smooth ride. With this one, that might not be the case. But that's the nature of Jeeps, though. So they're different than other cars. Now, whether you'll enjoy this vehicle depends on the person, and it depends on what you want. In my opinion, just driving around town, you know, 30, 40 miles per hour, regular turns and stuff like that, it drives just fine. You have a nice big vehicle presence. You know, you're pretty much taller than most vehicles on the road. But when it comes time to get on the freeway or a long road trip, there's gonna be like little things like the super bumpy road and the noise and everything. Not to mention, this vehicle doesn't really get good gas mileage, even if you are just doing like the speed limit. So here we go. See, it does good on the, so it does good off the line, but because of those lower gears, it revs out quicker. So your RPMs will be screaming high, but your speed isn't even actually that high. That's because with the new gears, it allows you to tap into more of your power. You have more usable power, but you can't have speed. So it's like you have to have the trade-off. You have to pick one. Do you want to go fast, or do you want to be able to have usable power? And you have to have the usable power with the big wheels and the lift and everything. So for everyday driving situation around like town and stuff like that, it excels pretty dang good. And actually you can accelerate through the traffic pretty good, you know. So the funny thing is, this vehicle is made for rock crawling, but most people are going to be either using it for mall crawling or grocery store hauling. All right, this thing is on E. I'm about to fill it up. I'm gonna see how much it's gonna cost to fill this sucker up. First off, I've noticed that there's nowhere to end the gas nozzle in there.